All right, so now the other alternative is, well, then let's get private bullion or private minted gold and silver. And there's a lot of great products out there. Kitco makes its own product, you know. There's a lot of, fine jewelry that have very high gold and silver content. Johnson Matthey's another one. Aramark, Engelhard is European. The caveat here is you just got to make sure that if you're going to buy private gold and silver, that you make sure the refinery or the minter is internationally recognized. Because if it's not, and you go try to convert it to cash, the question of the purity and the value will suppress the amount of cash you could get in return for it. Because if a gold dealer doesn't recognize the mint or the refinery, it's not going to give you top dollar. This happened recently in Europe, where this refinery started pumping out all these gold and silver products. People were buying them, but the purity got called into question, and the whole refinery, just due to bad press, got shut down within a year because it was not internationally recognized. So if you are going to go with something private, do this. What I should actually, if I go backwards, okay? Because a lot of times people talk about the price points. So paper gold, you will get paper gold for the exact spot price at the time you purchase it. Anytime you buy government minted, you will pay a premium, anywhere from 5 to 9% above spot. Private gold and silver, you'll pay another premium because private mints don't have the volume capacity as government mints, so it costs more to make high quality products. So you're going to pay anywhere from 10 to 20, sometimes 25% premium for private gold and silver. Okay, so that's just to give you an idea of the kind of premiums. And like I said, you got to, depending on your willingness to take risks, I would say get a very small portion in government minted, a larger portion in something private, but a specific kind of private. And then if you want to do and play with stocks and ETFs and mining, blah, 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 go ahead and do that too, if you want to. So now, something that the gentleman back there pointed to. Not only do the government coins fall under this too, but so do other private gold and silver products, because it's still gold and silver within the borders of Canada. Okay? So does private mints provide you protection? Yes. Does it provide you all the protection? No. There's only one thing that I found over the last couple years that offers. I know it's such a crazy long title, but it makes sense. It's called privately minted religious collectible. So back when all the wars were happening, okay, there were these UN rights and resolutions. The Hague Convention and the Geneva Convention are concurrent articles that followed, different atrocities that were happening in the world. And these articles basically stipulated anything that's private property cannot be confiscated. Any family honor, rights, private property, as well as religious convictions and practices must be respected. The property of municipalities and institutions dedicated to religion shall be treated as private property. Private property cannot be confiscated, is protected under UN human rights resolutions. Specifically, these articles and these two documents. Again, when somebody told me that, I was like, BS, I'm going to go look for it. So I found it. Okay, so take note of this, research it yourself. So, what does that mean? That means, remember in the slide before where it said gold and coins are the property of the government? That's what distinguishes private property and government property. So a lot of people would argue, well, my gold coins are private, they're part of my family honor, but they're not. They're stamped as money. They're owned by the state. That's not private property. Gold and silver is also not private property unless it qualifies as something that is consistent with your religious convictions and practices, or it's something that's dedicated to religion. These artifacts, these collectible artifacts, are treated as private property. So private minted religious collectibles. Okay? Now, in all my research, like I said, I spent years researching this. I was buying, in the very beginning when I got opened up to this about 4 years ago, 5 years ago now, I was buying government minted gold and silver. And then somebody tipped me off on a private, so I was buying private gold and silver, and things were great. I stumbled upon, the Royal Canadian Mint Act, and I was like, okay, well, just in case, I'm going to research this. I found out that, okay, well then what is actually protected? And I found this. And there is a company out there in the world, it's not Unique Wealth. Unique Wealth is a distributor of this refinery. The refinery is called Argo Horizon. Unfortunately, you can't see the stamp. But
You can
It's on the card.
oh, here it is, Argo Horizon, okay? Argo Horizon mints these coins that are stamped with a religious caricature. So it's privately non-government issued. It's a collectible because it's uniquely numbered. Internationally recognized refinery. The trademark is both on the certificate and stamped right onto the coin. So if you lose a certificate, it doesn't matter. You trade this gold coin in Vietnam, they'll recognize this mint because Argo Horizon is not some kiddie mint. It's responsible for producing over 20% of the world's supply of gold and silver. So it's a big player. It's internationally recognized. Okay? And religious collectible. Moses. Okay? Before Moses, it was Joseph. Okay? Now, it doesn't mean it's a religious company. They rotate the religious symbol. Why? Because that's what qualifies it as private property protected by UN human rights resolutions. Okay? Another thing about Argo Horizon is it's not only internationally recognized, but it's part of the London Bullion Market Association. London Bullion Market Association is a group of assayers that basically qualify refineries in the world. There's only 5 in the world that meet this designation. Argo Horizon is one of them. Yep.
Kind of premium business product.
Yeah.
These premiums, again, they're private, so they're about at the 20%, 20-25%. Very similar to the private, non-religious collectibles. Okay, because they're still private. And they're shipped to your door, because Unique Wealth is a distribution system, so it takes the gold from Argo Horizon and gets it out to people. So those are really the different kinds of products and the different kinds of ways that average people can get access to saving in real money, gold and silver, versus saving in paper. So the intention here today was, number one, to give you guys an idea of the kind of system, the kind of paper-based system we exist in right now in the world. And what a lot of people don't know is this. And usually I start off conversations with people by just asking them a few simple questions and say to them, did you know that every paper-based economy over the last 500 years has debased its currency and collapsed? Did you guys know that? I didn't until this guy told me. And the next thing I asked them is, did you know that every currency over millennia, 6,000 years, where the government took on a policy of debasing its currency, whether it's paper or metal, because in Roman times they would debase the currency by clipping the edges. Any government that took on that policy of clipping the edges of coins or printing more and more paper, those systems collapsed and failed. And did you know that right now, on the planet, it's the first time actually in recorded history where all countries in the world operate on a paper-based system? Did you guys realize that? All the countries are operating on a paper-based system. They're all pegged to the US dollar, which in '71 got taken off the gold standard, which just left everything floating. So if all the paper-based currencies historically have failed, what do you think is going to happen to the current one?
Fail.
You don't have to answer the question, just think about it.
It's a rhetorical question.
It's a rhetorical question.
It's not going to fail because you're just going to simply change the law and perpetuate.
That's right. Say that louder.
It's not going to fail because they're simply going to change the law and keep perpetuating it.
That's right. Okay? The way the paper-based system is running today will fail. It will stop and a new one will emerge.
Because you can't let the world fail.
That's right. Ramona?
But it'll
That's
be.
produced in Switzerland?
Yes.
It's delivered to your door. So what I'm wondering about is import, like duties, taxes, all that kind of stuff?
Yep.
Tell me
Yep.
about that?
Yep. So basically, the duties on gold and silver. Here's a really cool thing about gold, and this is wild, and silver actually. But actually, no, silver has a VAT tax now. Actually, it has a VAT tax. But the interesting note about gold is it's funny how gold, if you look at it, it's actually not taxed. Everything else is taxed. Do you notice we live in a tax everything society?
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't gold taxed? Have you ever wondered that?
You can't keep track.
Well, here's why I invite you to consider why gold's not taxed. It's because gold is the money that's being used by the people who create taxes. Why would they tax their own money? Food for thought. So there is no tax on the purchase of gold. Silver, there's a VAT tax, okay? And you do have to pay that premium only if the silver is stamped with the denomination. If it's not stamped, there's no tax on that silver.
There's no denominations on these coins.
No denomination on these coins. No denominations on like Kitco coins either or Engleharts.
So when it's shipped to you, this company does something with the paperwork, so it just comes in and...
Yep. It's guaranteed delivery you can order it by FedEx or Swiss Post. So it's insured by those carriers to get to your door. And if it doesn't, you get another one. Right? Yeah.
Is this tracked and recorded? I don't remember that.
It's tracked and recorded in your private back office once you sign up as a customer. Okay? But as for a paper trail physically in the world, it's not.